Let me tell you something. Every great nation, every unstoppable force starts with a dream that the rest of the world laughs at. India was once underestimated, overlooked, and even ignored. But what the world didn't see coming was the master plan. See, when people doubt you, when they say you can't, that's when you plan in silence. You move in the dark so your success shines like thunder in the daylight. India's doing just that: strategic, calculated, unshakable. While the world's busy talking, India's busy doing. You look around and you see technology booming, industries exploding, and young minds rewriting the future. This isn't luck, this is design, this is discipline. This is vision backed by determination. India's not just chasing dreams anymore. It's building them brick by brick, code by code, idea by idea. You see, when you rise from struggle, you don't just aim to survive, you aim to dominate, and domination doesn't come with arrogance, it comes with purpose. India's got that fire in its soul, that hunger in its people, that rhythm of resilience that shakes the ground beneath those who once looked down. Every nation fears one thing: momentum, because once it starts, you can't stop it. And that's exactly what India has, a momentum that's unstoppable. It's in the youth who dream bigger than borders. It's in the entrepreneurs who turn challenges into billion-dollar solutions. It's in the scientists launching satellites while others are still talking about theories. The world's not afraid of India because of its size. It's afraid of its mindset, the mindset that refuses to quit, the mindset that turns pain into power, the mindset that doesn't wait for opportunity, it creates it. You see, a master plan isn't just a strategy. It's a vision so bold that it scares those who don't understand it. India's master plan isn't loud, it's silent, focused, and unstoppable. The world's watching and slowly realizing that the future they feared is already here. Because once you learn to walk through storms with your head held high, once you learn to turn pressure into progress, once you learn that fear isn't a weakness, but a sign you're on the right path, then, my friend, you become unbeatable. India isn't waiting for validation anymore. It's writing its own story, its own destiny, its own legacy. And let me tell you something, the world should be paying attention, because this is what greatness looks like before the rest of the world calls it history. Silent preparation builds unstoppable power, because true strength is never found in noise. It is crafted in silence, in those long hours when nobody is watching. It's when a person or a nation decides to move in quiet focus, working behind the curtains, while others are busy chasing attention. That's where the foundation of greatness is laid. The loud ones get noticed for a moment, but the silent ones build legacies that echo for generations. India's rise is not about sudden headlines or flashy announcements. It's about years of consistent planning, unseen effort, and strategic patience that's now starting to shake the world. When you prepare in silence, you remove distractions, you sharpen your focus, and you align your energy with your purpose. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You let the results speak when the time is right. The world often underestimates the quiet ones because they don't reveal their plans, and that's exactly what gives them power. When you're silent, no one knows your next move, no one can predict your strategy, and no one can stop what they can't see coming. India has mastered this art of silent growth, building industries, developing defense capabilities, advancing technology, and empowering its youth, all while the world is busy arguing, doubting, and debating. This silence isn't weakness. It's the calm before the storm, the stillness that comes before a breakthrough. It's the energy of controlled ambition, waiting for the perfect moment to unleash its full force. The true power of preparation lies in patience. It's about trusting the process, working on the details, and never losing sight of the bigger vision, even when the world doesn't recognize it yet. You can't rush excellence. It's built through small, consistent steps that compound over time. Every nation, every individual who's ever achieved greatness first spent years in obscurity mastering their craft, refining their plan, and learning from every setback. That's the beauty of silence. It doesn't demand recognition. It just demands persistence. And when the moment finally comes, when the silent work meets the right opportunity, that's when unstoppable power is born. That's when the world realizes that the quiet ones they ignored were actually the ones writing the future. All along, vision, backed by discipline, creates destiny, because dreams alone don't build empires. It's the daily grind, the unwavering focus, and the refusal to quit that turn vision into reality. A vision without discipline is just imagination, but when you add consistency, control, and sacrifice, it becomes a roadmap to greatness. India's rise isn't built on sudden luck. It's built on a clear vision of what the nation wants to become and the disciplined steps taken every single day to move closer to that goal. Discipline is what separates wishful thinking from true transformation. It's what keeps you moving when motivation fades, what holds you steady when distractions try to pull you away. When a country or a person chooses to align vision with discipline, something incredible happens. Every challenge becomes a lesson. Every delay becomes a setup for something greater. And every small victory becomes fuel for the next move. It's easy to talk about vision, to dream big, to imagine success, but it takes real strength to stay committed when progress is slow, when results aren't visible, when the world doubts your direction. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's waking up early, staying consistent, learning, adapting, and believing even when no one else does. That's the kind of energy that builds legacies. India's discipline shows in its planning, in its technology, in its education, in its defense, and in the mindset of its people. You can see it in the focus of young entrepreneurs, in the innovation of scientists, and in the persistence of leaders who think not just of today, but of decades ahead. That's what true discipline is, making choices today that serve a greater purpose tomorrow. A disciplined vision doesn't chase shortcuts, it builds systems. It doesn't seek attention, it seeks results, and those results eventually speak louder than any words ever could. Every individual, every nation that ever changed history did it by combining vision with structure. The dream gives direction, but discipline gives the map. Without one, the other falls apart. The ones who win are not always the strongest or the fastest. They're the ones who stay consistent, focused, and faithful to their path no matter what obstacles appear in front of them. Because discipline turns ambition into reality and reality into destiny. Momentum is the world's greatest fear because once something begins to move with purpose, nothing can stop it. Momentum doesn't ask for permission, it doesn't wait for approval. It builds quietly and suddenly takes over everything in its path. That's why the world pays attention when a nation or a person begins to gather momentum, because they know that consistency combined with progress creates a force stronger than opposition. India has reached that stage where momentum is no longer an idea, it's a reality. The growth, the innovation, the rise in confidence, it's all part of a chain reaction that's now too powerful to contain. Momentum is built by movement, not by talk. And India has been moving forward with determination for years. The reason momentum creates fear is because it shifts power. It changes the balance. When you start gaining traction, those who once ignored you begin to notice. Those who once doubted you begin to question. And those who once tried to stop you begin to worry. The world doesn't fear power alone. It fears the rise of new power. Momentum represents transformation. It's the signal that something is changing permanently. India's momentum is coming from its youth, its industries, its digital revolution, and its unstoppable spirit of innovation. Every project completed, every idea launched, every success achieved adds more speed to the engine that's now racing toward the future. The truth about momentum is that it doesn't come overnight, it's built through persistence. Every small action contributes to the larger force. A nation gains momentum the same way a person does, by refusing to quit, by staying consistent, by learning from failure, and by pushing forward even when the results are slow. And once it begins to roll, even gravity can't hold it back. The noise of doubt fades, the resistance weakens, and the energy becomes self-sustaining. That's when a movement becomes a revolution and a plan becomes history. The power of momentum lies in its ability to multiply results. What once took years starts happening in months. What once seemed impossible becomes normal. The world fears that kind of momentum because it rewrites rules, it breaks limits, and it challenges old hierarchies. And once the wheels of progress start turning, the only direction left is forward mindset determines dominance, not size. Because real strength doesn't come from numbers or resources, it comes from belief. The greatest advantage any individual or nation can have is the right mindset, one that refuses to bow down, one that sees opportunity in every obstacle, one that turns limitations into motivation. When you look at history, it's never the biggest who win, it's the ones who think differently, who dare to dream beyond their circumstances, who believe they can lead even when others say they can't. India's rise in the global landscape isn't just about population or territory. It's about a collective mindset that's been transformed from dependency to dominance, from waiting to creating, from following to leading. The mindset of dominance doesn't shout, it works. It doesn't seek validation, it proves. It doesn't look around to compare, it looks within to improve. That's what defines true power. India's people are showing that dominance begins in the mind long before it appears on the map. The world often measures power by physical scale, by armies' wealth or weapons, but the new power of this century is mental, digital, and visionary. The nations that win now are the ones that think bold, innovate fast, and adapt faster. And India's mindset is built exactly on those principles. It's the mindset of a country that learned from its past, embraced its diversity, and turned its challenges into strength. Once a mindset shifts, everything else follows. You start to speak differently, act differently, build differently. You stop asking what's possible and start creating what's next. That's where dominance begins, not in resources, but in resilience. India's confidence is rising not because it's the biggest, but because it's thinking like the boldest. The youth of India are not waiting for the world to open doors. They're building their own. Startups, technology, defense, space, cinema. Everywhere you look, you see a reflection of a nation that has mentally decided to lead. Dominance is a mental game before it's ever a material one. The moment you shift your mindset from fear to faith, from limits to possibilities, from competition to creation, you change the entire equation. That's how underdogs rise. That's how nations evolve. That's how a new kind of power is born. One that doesn't rely on how big you are, but on how strong you think. Innovation turns struggle into strength, because every great breakthrough begins in a place of challenge. When circumstances are tough, when resources are limited, that's when creativity comes alive. Innovation isn't born in comfort, it's born in necessity. It's when people are forced to think differently, to adapt, to create solutions that never existed before. India has faced its share of struggles, economic, social, political. But instead of surrendering, it learned to innovate. It found ways to turn adversity into advantage. That's what separates nations that rise from those that remain stagnant. Struggle refines the mind, and innovation is the proof that nothing can stop a determined spirit. When innovation becomes part of a culture, it changes everything. It's not just about technology. It's about mindset. It's about finding a way when there seems to be none, building with what you have, and believing that limitation is just another challenge waiting to be solved. India's innovation journey is visible everywhere, from digital revolutions to space exploration, from renewable energy to education technology. These aren't just industries, they're reflections of a mindset that refuses to be defined by struggle. Every challenge India has faced has only made it stronger, sharper, and more creative. That's what innovation does. It transforms pain into purpose and effort into excellence. True innovation doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It happens when people decide that waiting isn't an option anymore. It happens when the dream to improve becomes stronger than the fear of failure. India's innovators are showing the world that you don't need luxury to create progress. You need vision and determination. From small villages using solar power to scientists launching missions to Mars, it's all part of one story, the story of turning struggle into strength. The tougher the situation, the brighter the idea, the bigger the problem, the stronger the solution. Innovation is power because it multiplies potential. It allows nations to rise beyond what's expected and rewrite what's possible. The world may see struggle as weakness, but visionaries see it as training. They understand that diamonds form under pressure and that greatness grows in hard soil. India's strength today is not just in its economy or technology, but in its ability to innovate through every hardship, to turn every difficulty into a driving force that moves the entire nation forward. The future belongs to those who create, not wait, because opportunity doesn't knock on doors that never open. The ones who shape history are not the ones sitting on the sidelines hoping for change. They're the ones who get up, build, and make it happen. Creation is the language of leadership. When you create, you control direction, you design destiny, and you decide what tomorrow looks like. India's rise in the global arena is the result of that same mindset, an unshakable belief in creation over dependence, in action over expectation. The world has always rewarded creators because they are the ones who move humanity forward. They don't wait for permission or conditions. They start where they are with what they have and turn it into something powerful. Waiting is easy, but creation takes courage. It takes faith to begin when there's no guarantee of success. It takes discipline to build when the world is still doubting. The future is never promised to those who hesitate. It belongs to those who dare to take the first step. India's innovators, entrepreneurs, and thinkers are proving this truth every single day. They are not waiting for the world to recognize their potential. They're showing it. In every field, technology, defense, education, space, arts, there's a movement of creation that's shaping a new narrative. This is what separates dreamers from doers. Dreamers talk about what could be, while creators make it real. Creation is not just about making something new, it's about believing you have the power to change something old. It's about refusing to settle for what exists and daring to build what's missing. That's why creators are always ahead of time. They don't follow trends, they set them. India's growth story is written by millions of creators who are designing solutions, shaping systems, and rewriting possibilities. They're not asking for opportunity, they're making it. When a nation adopts the mindset of creation, it becomes unstoppable. The energy shifts from waiting for change to being the change. That's when innovation multiplies, progress accelerates, and the impossible starts to look ordinary, the world begins to take notice not of what was given, but of what was built. That's the kind of power that defines the future. The power of creation over hesitation, of movement over waiting, of vision over fear.